Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back for episode 21 of Hypovolemia. Last episode we were working on the Thaumcraft section of the HQM quest book. We got ourselves an arcane work table, a crucible, the research table, and started doing some work with the Thaumcraft trees. And I want to start today's episode by talking about some of the stuff that I have done since the end of last episode. The first of which is something that a ton of people in the comment section pointed out that I was doing wrong, and that is that I was taking the blood orb out of the alchemic chemistry set, putting it into the altar, charging it up, and then taking it back over to the alchemic chemistry set to make more of these nether stars for our crystal clusters. And instead what you can do is you can have one blood orb within the chemistry set, make a second blood orb, bind it to yourself, and then put it into the blood altar, and now we have one that's constantly collecting blood and putting it into our blood network from the blood altar. And then this one over here, which is taking that blood and using it to make nether stars over here. If we take a quick look at our division sigil here, you'll see the life points count up, and once they get to about 5,000 life points, which is 1/10 or 1% of the progress towards making a wither skeleton skull, this recipe requires 500,000 life points, and therefore 1% of that is 5,000 life points. So if we look at this right now, it's currently at 10%. It went to 11%. If we look at the amount of life points in the blood network, once it gets to about 5,000, it uses that 5,000, bumps up the progress of this little setup here by 1%, and then starts again climbing up until it gets to 5,000, and then the process repeats over and over and over again until it gets to 100%, at which point we get a nether star. Right now, we have, I think, about 90 of these things. If we come over to here, I think we've got 31 in the system. We've just picked out an extra 51, which takes us to 89 of those nether cubes in total. We do need 108 of those in order to make the remaining 3 crystal clusters that we need in order to get a tier 6 altar, and so we're not going to be able to do that today, but hopefully in the next couple of episodes. And so what I want to work on in today's episode is a little bit more Thaumcraft, because I've taken a look at some of the upcoming quests in the Thaumcraft quest line, and this seems like a fairly easy quest line for us to 100% complete in a small amount of time. It's not that egregious of a quest line, and we're going to start by crafting up these pesky little balls over here, and we're going to make a node stabilizer and a node transducer, as well as the V charge relay and the V relay, in order to make some energized nodes. Now, I did a little bit of testing with this between episodes, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not 100% sure on what this setup does, but I have an idea, and we're going to try it out anyway. So, in order to make the node stabilizer here, we need 2 of these arcane stone bricks, 1 nitor, 1 piston, 2 blocks of quartz, and 1 golden ingot. Blocks of quartz are, of course, super easy to get because we have our nether quartz seeds working hard in the background. Golden ingots, we also have quite a lot of, thanks to our golden aubrey bushes, which are also working nice and hard in the background. Pistons, again, should be fairly easy to get. Nitor is just some glowstone along with some potentia, some ignis, and some lux. We can get that from some coal and from some torches, so let's go ahead and take some of those and also grab some torches. And then finally, of course, we need those arcane stone bricks. To get those, we have to make arcane stone blocks, and of course, to make those, we just need some stone, any kind of shard, as well as the fire and earth aspect in our wand as well. I did do a little bit more charging of my wand between episodes, and by that I mean I killed a bunch of mobs that spawned from our mob spawner. So now, in our gold banded greatwood wand, it's almost full to the brim, just missing a little bit of the predator on the bottom left there. So if we take all that stone, we are going to need some more shards, and we don't have a whole lot of them. We have a couple of entropy shards, a couple of auto shards, and 1 balanced shard, but what I think I'm going to do is try and make a bunch of water shards, not because we need specifically a bunch of water shards, but there are a lot of crafting recipes that require some form of shard, and we have a lot of water essence and not a whole lot of anything else for making shards, and so I'm going to take those. Let's grab some iron as well, and let's just quickly interrupt this process over here. We'll come back to that. I'll have that going again between episodes, but let's quickly interrupt that and start making a bunch more of these water shards here, just so we can make a bunch more arcane stone blocks as the episode goes on. You can see that one of them is climbing up much, much faster, and let's go ahead and take those, and let's also, for the time being, grab an entropy shard out of the system as well. So, now that we've got all that, we should have pretty much everything we need in order to make our first node stabilizer. So let's come back over here. I also made another unlimited water source. I'll put it right here next to the crucible, because of course we are going to need quite a bit of that, quite a bit of water to make the crucible work. I've also just realized that I didn't get the glowstone that we need in order to make the nitor, so let me just quickly grab some of that. We've got the torches, we've got the coal. Everything else should be fairly easy to get. Have I scanned any of this stuff? Let's have a look. know. I might not have done. I don't think I have my thermometer on me either. I'm pressing shift over all this stuff. I don't know if I scanned anything in last episode. Let's have a look at making another thermometer here. It has been quite a while since the end of last episode, as a lot of you will probably know. It's been about 2 weeks since episode 20 of this mod pack went out. And so my apologies if I'm a little bit rusty on where we left off at the end of last episode. Did we scan the coal here? Let me throw that on the floor and see if we actually did give that a scan, or if I just haven't scanned it at all yet. If we scan coal, that gets us Potentia and Ignis. So apparently no, I did not scan anything last episode. Let's go ahead and also scan some torches here. The torches contain Lux. So now we have the Potentia, the Ignis, and the Lux all together in one nice little place. So if we throw 2 of these in, actually let me put my goggles of revealing on as well, so I can see what's inside of the crucible at any given time. If we throw in some coal, like so, and we look at it now, you can see at the top there, or on the little like GUI above the crucible, we've got 2 Ignis, 2 Potentia. If we throw in another one, because we need at least 3 to make the night ore, and we've now got 4 of both, and I throw in a third one, we now have 6. The reason I've thrown in 6, even though we only need 3, is because now I can make a nice even number. I can make 2 of them and not have anything left over. If we throw a torch in, that gets us 1, so let's go ahead and throw 6 torches in, like so. Now if we throw in 1 glowstone, that should halve all of those, if I can throw it in correctly without burning myself, and it totally does. And if we run over here and grab 1 more glowstone, we can go ahead and make a second night ore, which is going to use all of the aspects which are in that water, and we are in fact going to need a second piece of night ore, I think, for the transducer, which we're going to make directly after we've made our node stabilizer. So let's throw you in there. That takes it back down to normal water, and we now have 2 pieces of night ore. Pretty cool stuff. So if we come back over here and type in node stabilizer, in order to make this guy, let me just take all those out of there. The only thing that we're now missing are the 2 blocks of arcane stone bricks, so let's go ahead and make a couple of these, like so. Let's throw our gold banded wand in there. That gets us 9, which is more than enough to make ourselves 2 of the bricks, like so. We'll put those in like that and like that. Actually, we only do it once. That gets us 4. Take those out of there, shift click the recipe in like so, and that gets us a node stabilizer. Nice. Now what the node stabilizers do is they allow you to put multiple aura nodes next to each other without them interfering with one another. For example, if I put this right about there, you'll see this kind of protective orb appears around the aura node that's right here, and if I was to put down another aura node next to it without a node stabilizer, those aura nodes would kind of fight for the position that they're in, and they would both start to drain each other of their V. And so if you want to have multiple aura nodes within the same location, you want to make sure they're on node stabilizers so they don't attack each other and they don't interfere with the amount of V in the other aura nodes around it, basically. Hopefully that made sense. But if we go over to the quest book, that should be a quest complete. This one over here, it is. It does get another aura node, which is kind of cool. If I put that one down, I don't think this one will interfere with that one because that one is currently stabilized. I could be wrong. It looks like I'm not, which is good. And this one contains Terra, Aqua, and Air to go along with our Ignis and Air. So we've almost got all of the aspects here ready to just pull for our wand. We are missing some Protito, which is a bit of a shame because that's the only one that we seem to be pretty low on. So the next item on the list is, of course, the transducer. This guy over here. And to make this, we need another node stabilizer, as well as 4 blocks of redstone, another piece of night ore. So we're actually going to need to make a third piece because we need 1 there and 1 for the second node stabilizer, as well as 2 pieces of iron, 4 blocks of redstone, and a redstone comparator. So I'm going to go away real quick. I'm going to make a second node stabilizer. I'm going to get all the stuff I need to make the node transducer, and I'll be back in a second. And a little while later, we should now have everything it takes to make the node transducer here, apart from possibly all of the aspects here at the bottom, but we can worry about those in just a second. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a second node stabilizer, and then craft all of those together in here. And actually, we do have everything it takes, including the aspects, to make ourselves the transducer. Nice. So again, if we look back in the quest book, that should almost be a second quest complete. We do need to make the V charge relay as well as the V relay. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of today's episode, I'm not 100% sure on what the point of these are, but if you look here in the description, it says stabilizer on the bottom, transducer on the top, a redstone block on top of the node transducer to activate it. And so I did a little bit of digging on the wiki to try and find out what this whole setup was used for, and it's used for turning normal aura nodes into energized aura nodes. And apparently what happens, let's go ahead, I'm going to show you what happens. We're going to do it to this aura node on the left here, is you put the node transducer on the top like so, and then if you put redstone on top of that transducer, it'll activate the transducer. It will draw all of the V from the aura node and change it from being like, oh, let me get rid of that real quick, and change it from the current state that it's in to being in an energized state, and then apparently it can transfer V to nearby machines kind of wirelessly. You'll notice that the quest title is Wireless V, and and you'll see that it did just drain all of the V from that thing there. You'll see these little sticks kind of start to protrude out from the node transducer, and apparently now we can use this aura node to send V to other machines around it. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not 100% sure on what we're supposed to use this for, but if we look in here, we now have to make a V charge relay and a V relay. So let me quickly check out what we need to make both of those. If I type in V, the V relay is, ooh, I didn't like the sound of that, but we now have an energized aura node. You can see at the top there, energized aura node, Ignis 6, and Air 4. Again, not 100% sure on what that's all about, but if we look at this, to make this, we need 4 iron and a balanced shard, and to make the charged relay, we need a normal V relay with 2 greatwood rods as well as 2 iron ingots. Greatwood rods, of course, being just 2 greatwood logs, so most of that actually seems fairly easy to do. Let's come back over to our crafting terminal here. We already have a balanced shard in the system, which makes life a lot easier. Iron we already have. We should have more than enough in terms of aspects to make that happen, and if we don't, we do have a bunch of mobs kind of backed up here in the spawner that I can kill to fill up my wand as well. And then finally, we need 2 more iron as well as at least 4 more greatwood logs. We've got 2 there. We can cut down some more from the greatwood tree that we have in the back room there. Already got enough iron. Already got everything else. That looks pretty good. So let's come back over here. Let's mine at least 2 more of these logs. Thank you very much. And if we come back over to our arcane work table, we should be able to turn those into these greatwood rods. We can go ahead and craft all of these up into the 2 V relays that we need. And then we can craft that V relay with the 2 greatwood rods as well as the 2 iron ingots to make ourselves this guy. We are missing a little bit of Ignis and a little bit of Ordo. Unfortunately, we don't have Ordo in either of our aura nodes. I actually don't think that we can pull from here anymore. We can't pull any of the Ignis or air out of this aura node anymore. Instead, we have to use this one for the time being. So let's go ahead and pull out of there, and we are going to have to kill a couple of mobs to try and get our Ignis up. And there we go, we now have an almost full wand worth of V, so let's come back over to our arcane work table, stick that in there. That gets us the V charge relay, which should complete the quest over here. It does. I'm going to take the crystal bell jar just because a block of redstone isn't really worth all too much, and this kind of gives you a good idea, I think, of how we can use this thing. I believe what we're supposed to do is certain items within Thaumcraft require Essentia, or constant amounts of Essentia, in order to work. For example, the Lamp of Growth requires constant Herba in order to work, and I think the idea is, now I could be wrong here, don't take what I'm saying as fact whatsoever, and if you do know what the actual answer is or how you're supposed to actually use these energized nodes, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. But what I can understand of it from the wiki is that you're supposed to use this to transfer V to said items via stuff like these relays and via things like these V relays here, and you can use these to transfer V directly from a node to certain items that can use that V. I'm not going to do this actually yet, like we're not going to use this for anything right about now, but it was part of a quest, and I think that's what it's supposed to be used for. For now, I'll just leave this over here and leave this kind of doing its thing. But we'll come back to the quest bug, and the next thing that we're going to start working on, we could probably do Quicksilver here just to get this quest out of the way. This one is super easy to do. All we need to do here is make 1 piece of Quicksilver, and like I think I showed in the last episode, the way that we make Quicksilver is by crafting a block of silver in the Blood Altar with 30,000 life points, and we were given some silver seeds as well for completing a quest last episode. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to grab my Sigil of the Green Grove. I'm going to head over to our farming area. I'm going to farm a bunch of silver seeds until we have enough silver essence to make a block of silver, and I'll be back in a second. And now that we've got a stack of silver essence, we can craft that up in our crafting terminal here to get ourselves 7 of these silver ores. We can then enrich those in the enrichment chamber like so, which is going to get us silver dust, which we can then smelt up in our elite smelting factory over here like so. And once all of those are finished smelting up, we can take them all out. We now have 14 silver ingots. Let's go ahead and put all those back in there. Craft those up into a block of silver. Not like so. How do we go ahead and make a block of silver if that's not the case? Oh, we have to do it in the metal caster. Okay. So let me go ahead and grab all of those silver ingots back again, I guess. Let's take a quick look at possibly making ourselves a block cast. That's real weird, because that's not how we make most of the other blocks in here, but that's fine. Do we have what it takes to make another one of the soft molds? I think we should. Let's go ahead and craft you up. Then let's go ahead and use that to craft a block. Did we just say use it with wood. It did. Let's go ahead and craft that up with wood. That gets us a soft block mold. I think we then have to smelt that, if I'm not mistaken, in order to make it into a hard block mold. And then once we got that, all we need to do is bring that over to the furnace here. Let me quickly empty out this induction furnace, which is currently full of gold. If we grab a tank, what we should be able to do is put that maybe there. Actually, do we have our hopper? Okay, so now that I've pulled out all of the gold into this portable tank, let's go ahead and throw in at least 9 silver into here like so. Then let's go ahead and throw in the block mold down there, and that should go ahead and craft us up a block of silver. It doesn't look like we actually need anything else. And once we get to about 1,000 millibuckets worth of silver, that's going to make us a block of silver. Nice. We can then take that, stick it into our blood altar, which has way more than 30,000 life points. I did take out the blood up here just to let it fill up a little bit. And then once that's done, it should give us a quicksilver, which is going to complete that quest. And at which point we're going to start working on some of these quests down at the bottom here, which are starting to look at the runic altar and then starting to craft stuff with the arcane infusion crafting, which we'll get onto in just a second. Is this actually? Let's get our sigil of, what is it called now? It's called the sigil, this one here, the sigil of sight. That should give us a good idea of how close it is to finishing. It's currently 45% of the way through, so let's just quickly wait for this to finish. And there we go, a piece of quicksilver. Nice. We can take that. We can tick off the quest. We can claim our crystal bell jar. I'm not quite sure why we're getting bell jars for all of these quests, but we now have another bell jar to add to our collection, as well as a piece of quicksilver that we might also never use. And so now let's work on the pedestals quest. This one, again, seems like a fairly easy quest. It simply asks us to make 8 pedestals, and as a reward for that, it gives us a runic matrix, which is going to allow us to set up the runic altar, and therefore allow us to start doing some infusion crafting. So if we look at the recipe for a pedestal, this guy over here, it is quite simply 7 of these arcane stone blocks, as well as 5 of the air aspect. If we come over to our chemistry set, we should now have a bunch of these water shards. We also have quite a bit of stone, and we also have a fair amount of V in our wand as well. So if we come over here and do something like this with the shards in the middle, that's going to get us a bunch of these arcane stone blocks. I'm just going to make as many as we possibly can, and then we can use those to do something like this and get a bunch of these arcane pedestals like so. That gets us 8. We do have a bunch of these blocks left over, but they are not going to go to waste. We do, of course, need a few of these arcane stone bricks in order to make the infusion altar. So, and now we've got that, we can go back in here, we can claim our reward. Let me quickly cut down the entirety of the silverwood tree, because I kind of want to have my runic altar in the middle of the room here. Okay, so now that we've gotten rid of most of the silverwood tree, there are still a couple of leaves kind of hanging around up top there. I'll get rid of those. And probably the greatwood tree here as well between episodes. Let's go ahead and put down all the stuff required to make the runic altar here. So I kind of want it to be in the middle, which I think is about here. We're going to have the bricks on the bottom layer like this. The top layer is going to look something like this. And then on top of that, I think right about there, right on top there, should go the runic altar. We'll get rid of both these. And I think now, if we right-click that with our gold-banded greatwood wand, which is currently over here in our arcane work table, let's grab that, give it a quick right-click, and it doesn't work. We might have to have 25 of each aspect in our wand in order for this to work. Let me try. Yeah, we need 25 of each aspect. So let's see about quickly filling up our wand here. We can get some air from over here. And actually, once we've got air, we should be good to go. And it's not working. Why is that not working? It's because we need a pedestal at the bottom here. Once we got a pedestal and we right-click again, boom, we get ourselves the runic matrix, which is fully crafted into its altar form. And now all we need to do is go ahead and put some of these pedestals all around it like so. I'm going to put 3 on each side to give us the maximum amount of slots for putting items down. Let's quickly go ahead and craft up a few more of these pedestals like so. I think 4 more should do us quite nice. We'll put one there, and then 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're missing 1 more. That is so close. But I don't want to make... yeah, you know what? I'll use the last few that we have here to make our last set. We need 4.5 air. We should, I think, be able to pull that from this aura node over here. We can't because it's completely out of air, and we currently have no more mobs, so we're not going to do that. Instead, we're just going to leave it 1 pedestal shy of a full 12 pedestals, and we're going to go back to the quest book and look at the next set of quests. So, we completed that, and that unlocked this quest over here, which is Comfort, gives us a wand recharging pedestal. The wand recharging pedestal is actually pretty handy, but in order to make it, you'll see it does require some some arcane infusion, and it requires some essentials here that we can't get from our wand. And so for that, we are first going to have to look at this quest down here, the Essentia quest, which wants us to make an Essentia tube, an alchemical furnace, a water jar, and 2 arcane alembics, and an Essentia valve. And this setup here is going to allow us to pull aspects from other items and use them in our arcane crafting. So let's have a look at all of these recipes. To start with, we'll go with the Essentia tube. To make this, all we need to do is take a basic mechanical pipe, stick it in the blood altar with 3,000 life points. That should be fairly easy to do. Let's go ahead and see about getting some basic mechanical pipe out of our system here. We do have quite a lot of the stuff, so we'll take one of those, throw that into there, and after we break it again, after a few seconds, that should, we should have used our wrench there, but after a few seconds, that should turn into a pipe. Let's take a look at the alchemical furnace. To make this guy, we need to get ourselves a bunch more arcane stone. We currently have 2, so we're going to have to make a couple more of those, another furnace, as well as another crucible. So let's go ahead and take you. That should be the quest complete. Gonna put this away for now, just so we don't clog up our inventory all too much. And also, let me get rid of a couple of other items here. And also, let's start smelting up some more stone so we can make some more of these arcane stone blocks. Let's see about making ourselves another cauldron with some iron here, if we do something like that. That gets to the cauldron. We can, of course, then stick that down wherever we like. Right-click with the wand. That becomes a crucible, which we can now use for making the alchemical furnace. We also need to get ourselves a normal furnace, which should be fairly easy to do. Actually, do we have one lying around? We do. We have 18 lying around in the system. Gosh knows why. But I will take those. We can then take all that stone, craft that up into some arcane stone blocks over here in our arcane work table. Actually, we do have some spare. Look at that. So let's go ahead and craft all that up, throw our wand in, get ourselves the alchemical furnace, which is another part of the quest complete. Now, probably the hardest part of this crafting recipe is going to be the arcane alembic, this guy over here. To make this, actually, we did get, I think, some V-filters last episode. We didn't, but thankfully, they are fairly easy to make. And actually, this recipe doesn't look too bad whatsoever. Let's just quickly go ahead and craft up some of this silverwood into some silverwood planks. We can then use those silverwood planks in conjunction with some gold to get us the V-filters. After that, all we need is a bucket, some iron, and another golden ingot. We have buckets in spades, thanks to all of the liquid moving that we've been doing thus far. And iron we also have a ton of thanks to all of the aubrey bushes. So let's bring all of that background over to here, see if we have enough V to make ourselves 2 of the V filters, these guys right about here. We do not. We're missing a little bit of order, and we don't have any order in our aura nodes. So let's see. Oh, we don't have any mobs either. Okay, what I'm gonna have to do, guys, I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna wait until we have a nice supply of mobs here in the bottom of the mob spawner. I'm gonna kill them all, try and get my wand back up to 4V, and I'll be back in a second. Actually, whilst we wait for a nice amount of mobs to spawn in our mob spawner so we can recharge our wand, there is a quest over here called Discount that we can be working on. This quest wants us to make the full set of Sangrean armor, including the helmet, the robes, the leggings, and the boots. And if we look up the recipe for all of these, the way that we make them is by throwing certain items onto the ritual of the binding, which is what we used earlier to get our bound blade. So what I've done is set up the ritual of the binding again. Over here, we have the master ritual stone in the middle. All the ritual stones are on the outside. I, of course, used the ritual diviner over here to do it. And so if we make all of the items that we need, including the Thaumium chestplate, Thaumium leggings, Thaumium boots, and the goggles of revealing, we should be able to make the full set of Sanguine robes, which, if you look at the little description there, all give a V discount of different amounts. And so if we have all of those on, it'll actually be a lot cheaper for us to make a bunch of different stuff, and will require a lot less V for us to make items in the future, which means less waiting around for mobs to spawn in the spawner. So you'll notice most of them required some form of Thaumium armor. All of the Thaumium armor are made in the exact same way that you'd make almost any other armor, apart from instead of using, say, iron ingots or gold ingots or diamonds, you would use Thaumium ingots. And to make Thaumium ingots, we use the crucible with some water, 4 Procantio, and 1 iron ingot. So what I went ahead and did is crafted up a bunch more of these water shards over here. If we quickly scan those with our thermometer, we should see that each one of those does contain 1 Procantio. So it is going to be a little bit expensive for us to get enough to make all of the Thaumium ingots, but if we keep getting some more water essence, keep crafting them up in here, and get a bunch of these water shards, we've currently got 36 of these water shards, enough to make 9 Thaumium ingots, which is enough to make us the chest plate. We've already got the goggles of revealing, so making the Sanguine helmet should be fairly easy. Also, I'm fairly certain that the effect of the goggles of revealing will carry over to the Sanguine helmet here. Like, we'll be able to see what's in the crucible at any given time. So if we were to go ahead and quickly grab ourselves some iron from the AE system, we should be able to make a bunch of these Thaumium ingots. Now, I could throw them all in at once, like all of these water shards, shards into the system at once. I'm not going to do that just yet, because that could probably cause quite a lot of flux and also quite a big mess. Instead, what I'll do is I'll throw 16 in, which is already quite a lot. And if I throw 16 of those in there, it's going to create a lot of flux, but we now have 16 per Cantio in there. And so if we throw in 1, 2, 3, 4, we get 4 flux back. I'm then going to empty this out, which is probably going to cause a massive cloud of flux to appear. Thankfully, I was hoping it would float upwards because we got no roof, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and get rid of all of that. Like so, you want to make sure you get rid of flux. It does cause some pretty bad negative debuffs if you leave it hanging around. So let me quickly go ahead and fill this up one more time so we can grab another 4 of these Thaumium ingots. And there we go. We now have 8 of these Thaumium ingots, enough to make ourselves a chest plate. So again, let me quickly get rid of all of that stuff there. And so now, if we go ahead and craft all those up over here in the crafting table, that's going to get us the Thaumium chest plate. And if we take that over to the Ritual of the Binding, we should be able to turn that into the Sanguine robes like the quest wants. So let me go ahead and do we have to activate this first? I always forget. Let's try activating it first. Rush of energy flows through the ritual. Let's throw that down. Run away. Okay. That should have... we died. But that should have crafted up the item that we are after. And wow, we spawned a little way away. It's been a while since we died, I think. But let's come back over and let's see if that crafted us the Sanguine robes that we were after. If it didn't, it's not too big of a deal. We could always try again. It doesn't seem to have. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing wrong there. But let's try this again. Let's try this time with the goggles of revealing. If we have those with us, I'm hoping that some that are not fully durable will still work. I have a feeling they might not. Yeah, it doesn't look like those are going to work, which is a shame, because it means we're going to have to make some new goggles of revealing, but that's fine. Alright, guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go away. I'm going to continue to wait for some mobs to spawn so we can get a bunch of V into our wand. I'm going to go and try and farm a bunch of water essence so we can make a bunch more of those water shards. I'm then going to use those water shards to get a bunch of Thaumium ingots, use those Thaumium ingots to make a bunch of Thaumium armor, which we can then craft into the Sanguine armor. I'll also go ahead and make a second set of goggles of revealing, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so let's try this again, shall we? It turns out it's a lot easier for me to make order shards than it is for me to make water shards, because order shards are made using leaves instead of water essence, and we have a ton of leaves thanks to our tree farm over here. There are 2 ways I can get a bunch of leaves. I could either make the shears myself, which I was doing originally, but you can also set the Mine Factory Reloader Harvester to shear leaves on, at which point it will just go ahead and shear leaves for you. And so what I can do then is just take all those leaves, stick them into the chemistry set over here with the iron ingots, and every single cycle gets 5 order shards instead of 1. And so it does require a lot more life points. It requires 5,000 LP as opposed to the usual 500, but it's so much faster, and we have a ton of life points anyway, so doing this turned out to be much, much easier. And we now have 19 Thaumium ingots, which is the exact right amount to go ahead and make the chest plate, the leggings, and the boots. So let's try this again. We'll make ourselves a chest plate. We'll then go ahead, and it looks like we already had some Thaumium ingots in the system, actually, by the looks of things. Let's get some leggings, and then let me quickly get rid of some junk, like all this trash. Let's get some boots, and once we've got all of those, we should, in theory, now be able to get something running. Did I put the leggings back in the system? I did. Let's take those. Let's take you. The ritual back here is still active, and so I should just be able to quite simply throw this onto there like that, have that activate, not die, and that should get us the item that we're after. There it is. I saw it. I saw it. I'm going to play that back in slow motion because I saw that item appear. And now we don't have it. What the heck? Let me try this again. We're going to try it for a third flipping time. Let's try it with the leggings. If I can actually get them onto the stone. I'm going to get rid of the fire just in case that's what's causing it to like, just get destroyed. I died again. But again, I'm fairly certain that I saw the item fly out there right at the end. The reason we're dying, by the way, is because we don't have our helmet on. We should probably switch that out for that, because now we've got night vision and we can not die, which is preferable to dying every single time. That one worked. So we now have the leggings, which is nice, but I don't know why the other ones didn't. All right, well, let's do this again with the boots. Again, I'm going to make sure we get rid of this. This time around, we shouldn't die, although we are taking quite a bit of damage already. Let's just stay back. Oh, that one is also completed. Thank you very much. We'll take those. Oh, we don't have a flipping full set on. So we've got the leggings, we've got the boots. They should both have completed on the quest. Let me just check they have. Let's quickly do the goggles of revealing. That didn't work. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Again, let's just get rid of these real quick. Make sure nothing happens. And there we go. What? I don't even know what was going on last time. All right, let me quickly get enough thaumium to make another chest plate. Okay, let's hope that third time's the charm. We'll activate this again, throw on the chest plate, get rid of the fire, back away. And there we go. It actually flipping worked. Flipping egg. Okay, now if we go to the quest book, that is that quest complete, and we get the Ring of Runic Shield. Not quite sure what that does. I'm assuming we can put it in up here. We can. Runic Shield +5. I have no idea what that's going to do for us, but we now have this full set of armor, so let's go ahead and throw it on and see how swanky we look with our new full set. Oh, look at that. Look how beautiful we look. It's all pink in the Sphax texture pack. Beautiful. All right, so now we do have quite the V discount. I believe these all stack. So I think it's 6, 9, 9 plus 3, 12, and then 12, 14. 14 plus the discount we get from this. I think we actually get quite the V discount for crafting stuff now as opposed to before. So, for example, if we do this, you'll see it requires 0.86. Let me check the recipe for Arcane Stone real quick, actually, because I don't know if that actually is much of a discount. Arcane Stone requires 1 of each. The wand already says 86%. If I take the armor off, does that go down? It does. That's 100%. If we put the armor on, it goes down to 86%. So we do get quite the discount. It's not a whole lot when you're looking at just like the one at a time, but on much larger crafts, that's going to make it a lot easier. We're going to be able to make about like 15% extra stuff using the same amount of V just from wearing this armor, which is pretty cool in and of itself. But with that, guys, I think I'm going to have to end this episode there because these mobs are not spawning anywhere near as fast as I thought they would. Also, our hearts have changed. I think that's probably due to the ring. Yeah, as soon as we put the ring on, look at that. We got like some extra like heart point to the bottom there. Not quite sure what that's about, but like I said, guys, I'm gonna have to wait now until we get a bunch more mobs spawning. Hopefully, like a massive cluster of like 50 of them here at the bottom of the spawners to get enough V into our wands to go ahead and complete the last couple of quests in the Thaumcraft quest line here. All we gotta do is set up the Ascension Distillation so we can get aspects out of items into the altar, and then so we can do some altar crafting, which is what we're gonna need to do to complete some of these end quests over here. But as always, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to like. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys next time.